Behold, a slide hammer. We sprung and got the nice one from Harbor Freight. No, Harbor Freight doesn't make that bad of stuff, especially like their name brand Harbor Freight stuff, like Maddox. Maddox is a good one. If you see anything that says Pittsburgh on it, stay away from that. No, it's not that bad. Okay, so where we left off was we have our rod out of the log splitter, but the piston is still inside the cylinder. And I'm thinking we hook up this set, these claws here, and we can drop that down in that hole and catch the inside of that piston and knock that sucker out. So let me put one of these together here, and then I'll meet you over at the log splitter. We'll see what we can do. Hey, so I've used the slide hammer as much as the next guy. But something I didn't know came with this is a lock nut, right? So if I wanted these jaws to come down on something, I'm going to thread this on first and then thread it down, and it's going to force these jaws to come in like that. But since we're going in and we want to spread the jaws out, we're going to flip it around to this cone. And what that's going to do is grab these guys and push them out as we thread it down so they spread out and they stay out. I was thinking I was going to have to stick my creepy crawlies in there to keep those forks spread out like that while we hammered it out, but okay, let me put this together. Alright, before we go for the piston down in there, we got to get this gland out. And I've already cinched that down too far. This is where it helps to have a third hand. Where's my kiddos? Okay. All right, ready? You know what I'm thinking? There might be some burrs in there when we try to take out that snap ring. We should have cleaned those up. Yep. We might have to knock that back down and clean up those burrs. Let's try punching this back a little bit. See if we can get in here with some sandpaper and clean some of that up. You can see where there was a little bit of a lip there that we knocked down with the sandpaper. Here's some more there and there that we gouged up with the screwdriver trying to take that snap ring out. That's fine on this side because that's not where any of the seals sit. They all sit in the gland, so we just got to knock them down enough to get this gland out. So let's hook up the slide hammer again. Try again. Slide hammer?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
What do you think, Ever? You think it's going to come out?
Yeah, I don't want to trust you.
You don't trust me.
No.
Okay, so these jaws go in there. And then as you tighten this up, I'll spread the jaws out to where they're Ready?
Yeah.
Ta-da!
Nice. You are wow.
Okay, so while we were pounding the gland out, that piston did slide all the way down. So I'm wondering, rather than trying to reach that slide hammer down there, if we can tilt this thing down, tilt it down and bop on it with a dead blow, if that piston will come out all the way. Let's try it. Nope. Nope. It's still down there. We got it. Got a magnet on a stick. And there it is. That was our problem. That sucker unthreaded from the piston and wouldn't let that log splitter retract. Okay, so this was the piston. Here. It gets attached probably this way. And that's what unthreaded from the ram. That wouldn't allow it to go back because this wasn't there catching that fluid to push it back. So this is fine. We don't need to get new seals for this. These got those type of mechanical seals. So I'm sure they go on opposite ends of each other when you reinstall it. But we'll have to put some Loctite on this and give it some ugga-duggas when we put it back together. So this guy is what we're going to want to take to our local hydraulic store. I'm just going to take this whole thing in because I can't find a parts kit or a seal kit for that Flowtron. Hopefully they can match something up to it. We will have to clean that up a little bit. That's not a big concern because it's not a sealing surface. This is the sealing surface here where the O-ring is, where the seal. You can see a little bit of damage from our puller that we did, but we can clean that up nice and smooth. That is a sealing surface side, so we'll have to touch that up pretty gingerly. And then the snap ring as well, which if we bring this guy in, they'll find a snap ring that fits on the outside of this, and I have most of the pieces that we can put together. Hopefully they can get us the right one. So that's what this all depends on now, if someone can match up these seals. So with the power of the internet, let's go and do that. All right, now we got our gland in as well. We were waiting on getting O-rings forever. If you remember, we really kind of beat the snot out of this guy with the slide hammer, trying to get him out, which if you look here, this is the sealing here, so this is just where that snap ring will sit. Either way, let's clean that up with a file. Ooh, mosquito. Oh, banned on YouTube. Murdering bugs. So I just want to clean off the burrs on this thing. Alright, got all the burrs cleaned up around the edges. Then on the inside too, where that slide hammer took a little bite, we smoothed that out. It's nice and smooth. I'm not too concerned about it scratching the rod at all, because this is aluminum and the rod is chrome, so either way we want it to be as smooth as possible. that dry up. Alright, now that we're happy that the burrs are cleaned up, ready to put the O-rings back in. I think just to lube up these O-rings, I'm going to use some assembly lube. Looper plate 105. Do the inside O-ring first. So I scoured the internet for O-ring kits, seal kits for this Flowtron log splitter, and lo and behold, they don't make them all. So I took measurements with a micrometer, then we went to our good old-fashioned yellow book, McMaster car. We were able to get some comparable ones. Took a while to come in the mail, but which is unlike MasterCar. Now this outside one is a little larger, but I think if we can get it in there without pinching it, we're going to be fine. So let's get that all lubed up. And then all we had here was a wiper, which we can reuse that. That's not an issue. Let's lube up that one. Make sure that's seated in there well. Here we go. Alright, we gotta get our gland slid on. Actually, where's my snap ring? Slow down and think about this. Yeah. Snap ring. Gland. Let's get some lube on this shaft. I want to clean up these threads. Couple of Gadagas so that doesn't fall off again. I want to put a little bit of lube on these mechanical seals. Remember now our gaps, we want to clock those on opposite sides of each other. Well, let's go kill ourselves. Well. Hopefully, we didn't pinch that O-ring, it just went in there nicely. Alright, safety glasses are on. Giant snap ring pliers. One more click. Hey! Alright, let's try laying this thing on there. I'm gonna call these dogs. These dogs that go back on. Remember these bad boys? We're gonna replace those. Womp womp. There you go, YouTube watchers. Replace those bolts, Mike. I'm on it. Not gonna let you down. This is as good a time as any to change the filter out. Oh, we have it. Ooh. Look at that. Looks like some Teflon tape. Filter's doing its job. Alright, advanced auto parts. One of these things is not like the other. Return that useless filter back to advanced auto parts and went to Napa. Got the correct one.
Paper plate.
You gonna shoot a paper plate?
Yeah, you need a lot of paper.
What are you gonna staple it to that piece of wood?
No.
sure our ceiling surface is nice and clean. Remember, you only hand tighten these things. Don't put a oil filter wrench on there. Getting close to the moment of truth if we got those O-rings right or not. So if you notice, this hydraulic fluid is clear. And what was in it was red, which I believe is transmission fluid. But the guy told me he swears it's hydraulic fluid, and I bought the same kind he said he had, so hey, what are you gonna do? So because we had this thing tilted every which way from Sunday, just want to make sure we didn't dump a bunch of gas. Dump gas from the tank or carburetor into your sump, your oil sump, and it looks like we didn't. If we did, that might overflow or smell like gas, and it doesn't. So let's give this thing a run. All right, moment of truth. I think that's fuel on, choke on, switch on. All right, no squeaks, no leaks, guaranteed for 2 weeks. I'll make sure I top the tank back off after we got all the air out of the cylinder, running it back and forth. But the engine runs a little finicky. It needs that choke. It needs just a little bit of choke for it to run right. But I'll ask them if they want that carb looked at. But hey, we got it running. We got it running. We got it stop leaking. And able to go back and forth. The O-rings we got worked. And thanks for watching.